Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Derek Lodge, or Dilo for short. If you're new here, welcome. So this is going to be another recovery session voiceover video. This is my coworker Jaia, and as you can see, I strapped in her leg. I typically strap in the leg to make stability a bit easier. Jaia in particular is very flexible, so it makes it easier for me to stabilize or pin down the opposite leg so she can get an even deeper stretch. Right now I'm stretching her right hamstring / adductors. It's mainly a hamstring stretch, but another reason why I would use this strap is if someone is super duper uber tight and I need more strength to hold down the opposite leg. So people who are super tight, their left hip flexor, so the left side on the front of their leg would be super tight, and it's gonna connect to the back side of the right leg. So I know people are probably gonna comment and think like, oh my god, like her leg isn't straight, like oh my god, you're doing it wrong. But no, in Jaia's case, we actually are not trying to promote hyperextension. Like, we don't want to train her hyperextension, so that's why we're just keeping a natural bend. We're just moving her muscles in the path of least resistance. So yeah, her knees don't need to hyperextend, and for, you know, it depends what your goals are, but for this session right now, like, we're not training super deep ranges, so I'm just going to where her muscles feel like they want to go. And yeah, so I moved a little laterally, like I kind of moved her leg outward a bit, which will stretch her adductors in the middle a bit more. And you can see the strap is holding her down and in place, and I'm just using my other hand to stabilize and support even more. I also wanted to mention is to be mindful of your grip. So as you can see, my hand holding her ankle, like I'm not putting a chokehold on her ankle. I'm not like strangling her, especially in the deeper ranges. I'm actually just keeping a nice open C, like a cup hand, and just guiding her foot into position. Okay, we finished that side. I like to give it a good little shaky shake. Get the blood all moving up around in there. Okay, so right now I'm just warming up this leg. It's our first time stretching it, so I'm just seeing the range. The very first rep I do is just to like feel how this side feels, see if the muscle is shaking, see if it turns out. And I've worked with many bodies, so I can tell based off of people's reactions and the stretchiness, elasticity, and like just the feedback from the muscles, how far the person can go. And like I already know Jaia is very flexible, very bendy, so you know, I'm just warming up this side, seeing if it goes more or deeper or any less farther than the other side. I typically like to stretch my clients for their bodies, and we aim for symmetry, so I'm seeing if there's any differences between the left leg and the right leg, anything too noticeable that, you know, may cause anything worth noting. This is another tip. So as you can see, I'm bringing Jaia's leg down, but look at my right hand, so the hand under her knee. When you guys are working with clients and lifting up their leg and supporting the leg, if you actually use the back of your hand, let's roll it back. Let me roll the clip back. Okay, so take a look at my right hand as I'm circling, that I'm actually using the back of my hand, And in my opinion, as like a client and as a practitioner, it makes it easier, not only as a practitioner, but for the client, it doesn't feel like you're being manhandled or like grabbed. If you still feel supported and like you're being controlled in a smooth manner, but you know, it doesn't feel so dominating, like such a dominating position. With this type of body work and working with clients one-on-one, that's super important. Just you controlling another person's body, you have to have a very like empathetic, you have to listen to their body. Especially in these deeper ranges, you have to be very mindful of how hard you're gripping, where your hands are, the body placement. It's all about the client or the person you're working with. You want them to feel relaxed, you want them to feel safe. You do not want them to be in fight or flight mode. You actually want them to be calm, breathing. Remember to remind them to breathe. And yeah, everything should be good. Okay, so right now we're still stretching her left leg, her left hamstring. So I'm pressing her leg up, I'm bringing her hip into flexion, and this is another key thing you can do. If you dorsiflex their foot or their ankle, it'll bring the stretch deeper. So right now I'm straightening her knee, so her knee is kind of bent, so I'm extending her knee and I'm dorsiflexing her foot. This will put like an even deeper stretch on the back side of her leg. She should be feeling it in the arches of her feet, her calves, her hammies, super deep. And then I like to point it up opposite just to get, you know, to balance it out. And yeah, as you can see, I like to shakey, shakey, shake, get the blood back up in there. So now I'm moving a little more outward. The previous stretch was more up and down, like more directly hammies, and now bringing the leg out a bit, externally rotating the hip. It should be stretching her adductors more. And as you can see, my body is actually, my side body is like leaning into her calf area, calf ankle area. I'm actually using like the side of my hip, kind of where I place the pole, you know? It's kind of like where you place the pole on like a jade, kind of right in that hip bone area. Yeah, so I'm literally using like the bony parts of my body and pressing it up against her body to get a nice equal stretch throughout the muscle. In this position, I don't know if you can see it, but you can also flex and point the foot in this position to get a deeper stretch as well. Another tip is when you're bringing the leg back, bring it back slowly, of course, and make sure you support the knee. Sometimes when the client's relaxed, or if the client has very mobile joints, the knee will just want to straighten out, and like you can almost hurt the top of the knee. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Now we're working on Jaia's external rotators, her glute muscles. So I like to warm it up, just pressing it up, seeing her range on this first rep. And Jaia doesn't have any like meniscus or knee ACL injuries, so I'm not too worried about the rotation at her knee. Everybody's different, but for Jaia's body, she doesn't necessarily need the support at her knee joint. If somebody did have kind of previous or past injuries to that area, I would support the knee a little bit differently for this particular stretch, or I might not even do the stretch. But as you can see, where I'm swooping it around, going real slow, giving it a shake. And I think I did one on that side. Maybe we only do one on that side. Okay, so we switch in sides now. As you can see, I use the back of my hand to lift up her leg, and make sure you don't strap the leg down too tight because you don't want to be like cutting off the circulation to the leg that's pinned down. So right now, opening up the hip, I like to open up the hip, do a big circle first, and if I feel tightness in the adductors, I kind of like push it down first, and then I rotate the leg up. And another tip is you can open the angle of the knee joint. So if someone is super duper uber bendy, you can open the knee past 90 degrees, which will put even deeper stretch on the hammies. So it's almost kind of like you're straightening the leg, almost getting like an even deeper stretch in the adductors, the hammies, and yeah. And as you can see, I'm using my whole body to support the leg, to swoop it around, do big circles. Oh yeah, and by the way, this video is sped up, so this is not the actual speed. It's like 1.5 times sped up. So you can see in the mirror, I'm slowly transferring, and then I'm placing her like heel area, pressing it, and I'm gonna transfer it under my armpit area very soon. See how slow I'm going? Like very, very slow. And I'm just pushing down, getting that rotation. And right now her leg isn't straight, but it's like it could go straight if we make it. But we're hitting the whole lateral side, her IT band, external rotators, glutes, and yeah. The pole's kind of in the way, but you know, we still got it done. Okay, so now we're gonna set up for a PSOAS / TFL front side stretch. So I forget the name of this. I'll insert it when I remember. There's like, I guess, a name for this stretch, but pretty much you sit at the edge of a table, and I like to put a yoga block under their butt. And right now she laid on the block, but we're gonna correct the form in a second. See how she's kind of rolling back and her sacrum isn't like, she's not in the middle when I flex her hip up. So you want your client, like their sacrum, their tailbone area, it will feel balanced and in the middle when you bend their hip at 90. So when you flex their hip to 90 and then you push down the opposite leg, they will feel balanced. To increase the stretch, you can flex her knee, so you can bend the knee that you're pushing the hip down. You can bend it with your off leg, and that'll drastically increase the stretch. You can also increase the stretch by flexing her hip up even more, so you're getting that separation. This is like a PSOAS stretch. If it hurts your client's low back, or if they feel twingy or pinchiness, I definitely would not do this variation of the stretch. But for most people, if they don't have any like spinal problems or fusions or bulging disc, anything like that, then you should be good. And also, one more thing to note with this stretch is if you bring the leg more medially, like so if you press the leg not only down but a little bit inward toward their midline, they may feel a stretch on the TFL, kind of on the side of their hip. So we're stretching like the stabilizers, like the strong hip flexors, and then all of them like stabilizer muscles on the side of the hip. So like the TFL, the IT band area, like we be stretching all that when you do this stretch. Okay, switching sides one more time. So as you can see, I put one leg on my chest, kind of in my armpit pec area, right off to the side on my shoulder. And I push that side up. And then the opposite side, as you can see, I'm pressing it inward towards her midline. And then I'm taking one of my legs and I'm bending her knee even more. So Jaia, actually, she did ballet for a good part of her life. So if anyone has worked with ballerinas, ballet, dance, anything like that, the amount of external rotation at the hips is like, oh my god, like. So for Jaia, I'm pressing her leg kind of in a more neutral position and just not letting her hips turn out, because naturally her hips want to turn out, because that's just how her muscles and where her strength goes. So moving slow, gently bringing her out of the stretch, and then doing the other side. And for this stretch, be very gentle with your clients. Like, they're literally face up on their back and you're like putting them in split positions. It's a very vulnerable position, and there's just a lot of trust between the client and practitioner when doing certain stretches like this. Okay, once you're done pushing the leg down, I like to instruct my clients to hug both of their knees. This actually is just a bomb stretch, you know, do a little child's pose, hug the knees, and I like to press their heels kind of closer to their butt, and then they can push their knees together. It feels super bomb. And then I usually say, okay, I'm gonna roll the block out from under you, roll them back, take the block out, and then have them chill, relax. And yeah, Jaia's just doing a little twisty twist now, stretching, feeling out her body. And yeah, that was it for today's session. Thank you so much, Jaia, for coming over, for letting me work with you and share and make this video. Okay, until next time, see y'all soon.